From WWL TV, Louisiana's news leader, this is Channel 4's Eyewitness Morning News.
Right now, 7:38, during the second presidential debate, which was on domestic issues, there was a question about higher education costs. Though both President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney addressed the question, neither really elaborated on the details of their plans. Here with more on what is in store for students all around this state, Delgado political science and American government instructor Matthew Snyder. And thank you so much for coming in, Matthew. First of all, education in this state is in kind of crisis mode, as it is in many states across America.
Correct. Higher education costs have been rising steadily for about the past 20 years. When you see, a sluggish economy showing signs of turning around, that doesn't alleviate too much of the financial burden on families or students who want to go to college. And Louisiana is definitely one of those states, and Louisianians are being impacted by this.
And right now we're seeing student debt in this country surpassing credit card debt, more than $1 trillion in student debt.
Yeah.
The average student graduates from college with $27,000 in debt. Yeah. Have the candidates said enough, in your opinion, about what they do to try and alleviate some of that?
I would like to see both candidates say a bit more. One candidate has been a bit more specific about their plan than another, but most of the platforms kind of speak in broad terms about what they'd like to accomplish.
And we do hear that a lot during campaigns, but you've looked at both the Romney campaign and the Obama campaign. What are the differences?
Well, the biggest difference I see between the two is that the Obama campaign is focused on expanding upon their record, on expanding upon access to Pell Grants, and also has mentioned debt relief depending upon the type of work you go into. So, for example, if you go into public service for 10 years and you make all your payments on your student loans up to those 10 years, you could be
forgiven.
It would be forgiven, yes, debt forgiveness. They've also worked with Congress to lower the debt forgiveness normal age from 25 years to 20 if you make all your payments on time.
And what about the Romney plan?
The Romney campaign seems focused more on restructuring the loan system. They say they want to simplify and restructure how loans are administered. And the biggest difference between the two would be in where the Romney campaign would like to see somewhat of a return to what they call bank-based lending, which the federal government actually moved away from in 2010. Before, banks would provide had the option of providing a federally guaranteed loan, and the federal government would pay these banks a subsidy. This was eliminated as actually part of the healthcare overhaul, and they would like to see a return to that.
And we are seeing some cuts in spending federally and around states in this country on education, while in other countries, especially in Asia, they're spending more, especially on math and science.
Right. That's something, that is definitely a concern for myself and some of my colleagues. And both candidates have mentioned this, that they want America to compete, particularly in math, sciences, engineering, technology in the future. Again, one candidate is talking more about administering aid and expanding upon loan programs. Another is talking about restructuring the debt system and maybe bringing the private sector back in. However, a lot of people feel that might be unlikely, given that it would require the government paying a fee to the banks. Where they do express a similarity is working with states and local governments on tying aid to states vis-a-vis education regarding output, regarding not just access to schools, but the degrees and the jobs people get coming out of those schools.
But how do you go and find the money in a strained economy? Because obviously the future of this country depends on a good higher education system, because that's where the jobs will be in the future. But how do you pay for it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's something I would have liked to have seen the candidates elaborate more on, is exactly where are they going to get the money from. If you do, as Governor Romney says, and just restructure and simplify the program, this changes eligibility requirements for some prospective college students. What will that mean? Where will the money come from? If you go back to bank-based lending, how will the government pay for that? President Obama talking about when expanding Pell Grants, which are appealing to a lot of prospective students. Where's the funds going to come from, especially at a time with $16 trillion in debt, and as you mentioned, how how student loan debt is now at $1 trillion.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but a yes or no answer. Do you think this country is doing enough to focus on education?
I do not. In my opinion, I would like to see a much more detailed focus from both candidates and also from the United States Congress. You know, one of the things I mentioned to my students at Delgado is that you should pay attention not only to what the presidential candidates are saying, but also the United States Congress. I mean, all 435 members are up for election in November, and Congress controls the purse. So their positions on education and pushing them to do more will be imperative to get America competing in a, in a global economy.
That was more than a yes or no, but it was good. All right, thank you very much.